everybody. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante. Please hit the like button. I'm here with Rosie Tran. We were just talking about the Stablecoin Act, but I want to ask you this since I have you here. And I'm a content creator, so I need more clips. So I'm just going to be honest with my audience. I need more clips. Since we were just talking about we've had you on the show several times now to talk about the power of crypto, specifically Bitcoin. We talked about the Stablecoin Act. Please, to my viewers, I've just created a new cryptocurrency playlist. So I'm going to put all my interviews talking about cryptocurrency with Christy I, with Rosie, and anybody else. So please check out that playlist. But it's the first, we're in the second week of December. They don't really have a stimulus plan yet. You've talked about there's all these zombie businesses out there that are being propped up, where people aren't even working. We're looking at 19 million foreclosures happening January 1st when the moratorium ends. And this country didn't do rent relief. We just kicked evictions down the road. We've got unemployment probably ending December 26th. They might come up with a new stimulus plan. I don't know. They're talking about giving everybody $600. Oh, wow. Thanks. Wall Street gets trillions and we get $600. Good luck. How do you see, you follow cryptocurrency. You've been following it a while. I'm about 6 months into it, so I'm understanding it more. But as I'm paying more attention, I'm watching all of these financial shows and talking about how we've been printing trillions of dollars just since March. On top of our economy had all these bubbles before COVID-19, right? So how do you see this trans? Okay, Biden's president. Yay, Trump's gone. He was awful, but now we're just more the same old nonsense. How do you see this happening with the dollar and the American economy and the markets? It seems like we're just headed for like a massive collapse, like a huge financial collapse. That was starting before COVID-19, but COVID-19 has just exacerbated it like tenfold. How do you see this playing out?
So unfortunately, I think that what COVID has done is it's exposed all the monsters under the rug. And so now it's showing everything times 20. So it's showing, the stock market is at all-time highs. The average person is at all-time lows. So This is really showing the income inequality and the wealth inequality in America. So personally, I don't know if the stock market is going to crash or not, because it is being propped up by trillions. As you know, trillions of dollars, as I mentioned before, more has been printed in the last 3 months or 6 months than the past 11 years altogether. And a majority of that money went to the ultra rich and large corporations. So this is why, because I've had people ask, well, how can the stock market keep going up when people are unemployed? Because it's because of the printed money. Exactly.
It's insane to sit there and watch the news like, oh, the stock market's doing great. I'm like, there's lines longer than we haven't seen food lines this long in America since the 1930s. Like, food banks are tapped. They're maxed out. I tell people, if you have any money or canned food, give it to a food bank. That's the best thing you can do to help Americans right now. And then, the stock market's doing great. Well, who gives a shit? It's like 85% of all stocks are owned by 1% of the population. So
But this is what's being shown due to the pandemic. So we already knew about all these issues, but now it's on steroids. Mm-hmm. So another issue at hand is that the US economy has ripples across the world economy, right? We are the quote unquote engine of the world, capitalist engine. And so the rest of the world is going to follow suit. When the Great Depression happened and the stock market crash happened in America, and the global recession happened in 2009, it rippled through the rest of the world. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but what I can say for your listeners and your watchers is that they need to get educated. This is more important than ever. I believe a global financial revolution is underway. As you mentioned, the elites are losing power and they're freaked out. People are suffering very badly due to COVID-19, not just the disease, but the shutdowns, economic shutdowns, and the recession that's underway. So the peasants, we have our pitchforks, and we're pretty pissed. So I think that there's definitely going to be a huge shift in the global economy. I know that a lot of that shift is going to be to a digital shift. If you have extra savings, I personally would put it in crypto. This is not financial advice. However, I do not trust the fiat dollar right now. It's losing money as we speak, as they continue printing and printing. I don't know if the US economy is going to completely collapse to the point of, Germany post World War II. But I do know that not only are socialists saying that it's bad, hedge fund billionaires are saying it's going to be bad. So people all across the financial spectrum are saying, "Whoa, this is not a good idea. Stop. This is not working." And I think that, Trump unfortunately thought that this virus was only going to last a couple months, and it looks like it's going to be another year and a half, 2 years. So I think tough times are coming. And I really would just encourage all of your listeners and watchers to get financially educated, to protect themselves. Try to put some money in crypto if you can. Again, not financial advice, but learn for yourself. Go online and look up and see what is going on. They're calling it digital gold, so it's a way to protect your savings.
Right.
But I really would be weary of, I think we are at a turning point. Every 100 years, a giant turning point happens. And I think this is this century's turning point.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had a pandemic like this in 100 years. I mean,
Exactly.
And we're due for a market, like every 90 years, there's a massive market crash. And we're right on it. I mean, we are right on it. So like
it feels a little bit like the Roaring 20s, and then the 1930s is coming.
Yeah, it does. And that's the other thing too. And I've mentioned it before on this show, but like when the stock market crashed in 1929, the depression really didn't start to be felt until about 1932. So that's the thing I tell people, like, we just had this complete 6-7 month shutdown, 8-month shutdown, even, and it's still not really opening up. It can't, because the numbers have spiked so bad. And okay, maybe there's a vaccine, but I just heard 6 people died from it. Like, who knows if this vaccine is going to be the savior. So this could, and even if they found a vaccine tomorrow and it works and everybody's healed, there's still so much damage that's already been done. I mean, whole sectors have been wiped out. People have lost money, their businesses. There's going to be all these PPP loans that are going to come due, and I don't know, the government may forgive them or not or whatever, but it's like, this isn't just like a speed bump. This is a huge cataclysmic thing, and it's going to be bigger than what happened in 2008. And so as I've gotten more educated about crypto, and I tell my audience, I get paid in crypto from Rockfin, right? So I've converted some of those tokens to Ethereum and to Bitcoin. I've gotten a cold wallet. I've learned about that. And because I've learned keeping money on the exchanges, keeping crypto on the exchanges, you don't really own it if you keep it on.
Yes, you should have it on a wallet.
Yeah, have it on a wallet. So keep a little on an exchange if you're doing, it's like day trading or whatever, but keep the majority of it on a cold wallet and learn about that. So when you say get educated, I tell people, and then I'm going to ask you where you would send people to get educated. I tell people, first of all, if they're just like, I don't know anything about this, I say, go to Bitcoin 101. It's bitcoin.com's YouTube channel. They literally have a Bitcoin 101, and they just 3-minute, 4-minute videos. They spoon feed you. They talk, which I needed. I'm like, talk to me like I'm 5. It's like, well, Graham, it's like gold. It's like, oh, like I need to be, like, let's say a horsey has a coin. Like, oh, like that's how I needed to be talked to figure this out. So I tell people, go to that one, and then start. And I watch this woman, Crypto Casey. And a lot of these crypto YouTubers have like playlists. She has a bunch of her favorite wallets, her favorite exchanges. I watch this show, The Moon, and I watch Altcoin Daily. And they all have their recommend. Now, the thing is, I started to learn, like, I use Coinbase initially. That's what I was told to use by the Rockfin folks. It's the entry level, very simple to use, but it's also kind of like PayPal. It's highly regulated. They're sending, and they can freeze your accounts. And I'm beginning to see too, a lot of exchanges, people are like, oh, try Femex or whatever. Like, well, you can't if you're in the United States, or try.
A lot of things are blocked in the United States, and in certain states. New York has blocked a lot of them because New York is the financial banking capital.
Yep.
And so a lot of crypto is blocked in New York, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you got to use a VPN. I'm just getting knowledgeable about that. I'm not quite, because I want to buy some more Bitcoin. I'm sort of waiting to see if it comes down a little bit. But so where would you tell people, anyone watching my show who, again, is like, they've heard me talk about it, but they're like, I don't know. Like, how would you tell people when you say get educated, where specifically would you tell them to get educated about this?
So I'm going to recommend 3 things. First, I'm going to be a little self-serving and tell people to check out my podcast, Out of the Box Podcast.
Yes.
It's not a crypto podcast, but I do have some episodes where I interview some really awesome crypto people, including Isaiah, who wrote the book Bitcoin in Black America. So check out my podcast, Out of the Box Podcast. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and anywhere you have a podcast. I also would recommend a book called Internet of Money by Andres Antonopoulos. And people call him Bitcoin Jesus. And he is a big crypto guy, Bitcoin guy. He's been pushing it since the very beginning. And I was very confused by crypto in the beginning. I thought, I don't know anything about cryptography. I'm not smart enough. I don't know anything about the banking system. And his book, Internet of Money, changed my mind. It's a collection of some talks that he's done online, TED Talks and other things. And the way he explains it is so crystal clear, I believe a child can understand it.
Okay.
And it's so revolutionary. When he describes it, you really understand it as revolutionary money of the people, not corrupted by war, not corrupted by blood money, not corrupted by the Fed, not corrupted by racism. I think he really made me feel that it was like a people's revolution. So I really would encourage reading his book. And I believe he has a new version of it, or volume 2, which I haven't read yet. Again, that's Internet of Money by Andres Antonopoulos. And then the final person I would send you to is, there's actually crypto kids videos on YouTube, and there's a couple kids that are crypto kids, and they explain it as if you're like a kindergartner, and they're really cute videos. They're from kids, and it just shows you how simple it is, because I follow a lot of people on crypto and Bitcoin Twitter, and unfortunately, there's a lot of bros on there, a lot of programmers and white men, nothing against white men, but they tend to be more into the cryptography, the blockchain, and more technical stuff, which I think can confuse the average person and make them feel like it's not for them. And so I don't encourage following those types of people, because they talk, again, more about the programming. And so it's very confusing. But if you follow the crypto kids, and the crypto kid YouTubes, just Google crypto kids. There's like tons of channels. They're explaining it as if you're a little kid, and it couldn't be more crystal clear and couldn't be easier to understand. And then you can graduate from there.
Yeah, I think that's great, because I feel the same way. So I've started to graduate a little, and I watched like the Moon and this guy Da Vinci. I watched, they're more for day trading, so they talk a lot in like these charts and ribbons.
Yeah, it's a little too confusing.
It's a little confusing, but I'll pull a little nugget out of each one, and I'll go, okay, I got something. I learned a little more, something like that. Like I watch Altcoin Daily, which kind of covers the news, and they mentioned something that made a lot of sense to me, which is the last run up in 2017, all this money. And this is the thing I love about it, because it's blockchain, it's open source, everyone can see it, right?
Yes.
So in
full transparency, no corruption.
No, yeah, no corruption. Like you can you go ask a Bank of America if they'll open the books for you. See how quickly that works.
They're too busy funding terrorist organizations and saying that Black people are too risky to invest to.
Yes, and they're too busy funding oil pipelines and other fun stuff. But one of the things they said in Altcoin Daily, which is like, the more you pay attention, the more you know, and also watch videos 2 and 3. I've watched some videos 2 and 3 times, because it's like reading a book. The second and third time, you're going to get more out of it. So, they said in 2017, because it's open source and you can see this, all this money was moving from cold wallets to the exchanges, which is a sign that once it got to a peak, then there was a big sell-off. And that's when it peaked at 19, almost 20,000 in 2017. Then there was this big sell-off, right? So the thing noticing now, this whole summer of Bitcoin going up from 10 to practically 20,000 again, all of this Bitcoin is moving from the exchanges to cold wallets, which means there's a lot of people holding, which means it's going to grow in long term. I think when the markets crash, and I want to hear what you say about this. My opinion, it seems like if the markets do crash in some capacity, Bitcoin will go down with it a little, but not as much as it did in March. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
So the stock market is something that I'm very confused by right now. And I do watch actually a lot of financial YouTube channels, and there's a lot of mixed information. Mm-hmm. So right now there's a lot of fear that a lot of pensions, a lot of 401ks are going to go bust. And one of the reasons is because of the bond market. Interest rates are at an all-time low. If you look at the UK, they're actually negative. And so a lot of these pension funds, a lot of these things are saying that they're going to pay 7 to 8% interest. Well, how are you going to pay 7 or 8% interest when the Fed is pushing 2% interest or negative 1% interest? And so if I was a teacher, firefighter, someone with a pension, I would be very concerned right now because they're gambling with our hard-earned money, Graham. That's the scariest part. It's not their money they're gambling with. It's your money and it's my money. And we're not having any say in it. That's the scary part. And so with the stock market right now, I really, honestly, I wish I knew. I've been thinking about it day in and day out, thinking, what am I going to do with my, Roth IRA? Because right now I have some money in savings and it's in there. And I don't know if it's going to completely crash because of what's going on with interest rates and what's going on with this fake propped up stock market. I mean, even Elon Musk said that the value of Tesla should not be as high as it is, that there's something wrong. So when, these billionaires are saying, wait, this doesn't make sense to me as a billionaire, something horrible is about to happen.
Yeah, it really feels like exactly. I feel the same way. All these billionaires, all these hedge fund people, when they're saying this ain't right, this doesn't look good to me, I'm like,
this is corrupt even for me. This is too much even for me.
Like so a drug dealer going, whoa, these guys have crossed the line. Like
that is what's going on. If you go on YouTube, if you look on any investment channels, which I watch a lot due to, learning about crypto and learning about just other investments to try to protect myself, there's billionaire hedge fund managers on there saying, this is scary. There's Goldman Sachs executives saying, whoa, this scares me. So Graham, this is not good. It's like the Fed went a little bit too far this time, and it's going to catch up in the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people to get informed, learn about crypto, specifically Bitcoin, because if you put a little bit of money, little bit of your savings into Bitcoin right now, let's just say whatever, 5% of your savings or 5% of your retirement or whatever you've got, and all this collapsing shit happens, like all these experts are talking about, the dollar is not worth anything. There's a run on the banks, which has happened recently in Greece and countries like that, where they say, oh, your 10 grand in the bank will only give you 500 in cash. The dollar's not worth anything. All these markets are wiped out. All these debt bubbles collapse. Which means all what you're talking about, all of these pensions that they've gambled with, that all goes away. And
really sick. It's really sick, Graham.
It's really sick. So that's why I'm like, imagine if you just like bought a buddy of mine, he watches the show and he's been paying attention. He's like put like $1,000 in Bitcoin in the last month or so. Now it's worth 1,400 or something like that. And I'm like, that's the thing. If Bitcoin goes nuts, because that's when America collapses, Bitcoin is going to go to 50, 100,000 a coin. Some people are saying 1 million a coin. I don't even think about that, but I'm just like, what if it just went from 20 to 100,000 a coin? And now, so you can't get access to your US dollars, but now all of a sudden you got a little something in Bitcoin that like, okay, you're not going to go starving. You know what I mean? Like
yes, you need to protect yourself. And I plug crypto. I've been plugging it, from, I would say a little bit past 2011, 2009 to 2011, I had heard about it, but I really, again, I thought I'm not smart enough. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't have 100% of my money in Bitcoin and crypto. I have a percentage. So it's a way to protect yourself. It's like an insurance policy because these motherfuckers, I don't know if I can say that on your channel, excuse me.
Yeah, you can. I say it all the time.
These motherfuckers don't give a shit, Graham. They do not care. And so if you're okay with gambling away a kindergarten teacher's pension plan They do not care.
No.
So this is the time to protect ourselves. Again, it's not a dog eat dog world. I still have faith in people. I still have faith in humanity, but I'm talking about these motherfuckers that are gambling with our hard-earned money. They do not care.
No, the 1%, the ruling class does not care. Americans, you see, most Americans are like helping each other out. They're volunteering at food banks. They're doing they're helping their neighbors out. I mean, there was just a bunch of people in Portland just blocked the police from evicting somebody. They're like, no, this ain't happening. So that's why I say, like, we have to work together, because the 1% is actively trying to screw us. They don't care. They will make money. They will get bailed out by the government. They never held accountable. Obama didn't put anybody in jail. Neither did Bush. They didn't do shit.
They did put people in jail, but they were underlings that didn't have anything to do with the financial crisis. And I want to tell you that that's another game plan, Graham, that they use, because I actually used to work in banking as I was an underling, and they heavily regulated my accounts. I had to fill out forms. There was people monitoring my accounts. But guess what? The big investment bankers, nothing.
Nothing.
Well, so you're going to regulate a $20,000 a year paid employee and monitor my accounts and put me through due diligence and put me through compliance. I make $20,000 a year and I barely have anything in stocks or investments, but the investment banker billionaires, nothing. And so then they can go, look, we're regulating the banking industry because, this poor $20,000 a year employee is being regulated to the T.
It's what the mob does. It's what criminal organizations do. We'll get the mid-level drug dealer because we don't want to find out that the mayor is selling drugs or whatever. Like, it's the same thing. We don't want to get the head of the crime organization, because you'll see the head of the crime organization has bought politicians and cops and whatever else. So we'll get the street dealer. It's like when they show that photo of, like, we captured all these drugs on the streets. Oh, boo, like, whatever. It's just like some mid-level guy got it. Just like I
think they arrested 3 people from Wall Street firms, and they were all like lower level, like basically a glorified secretary. It's very sad.
It's like when the head of Wells Fargo was in front of the Senate, and Liz Warren gave him that yelling, that stern talking to. This is like 3 years ago. And then no criminal. She just gave a big fancy speech that everyone retweeted. Oh yeah, you go get him, Liz. He walked with $120 million
severance package. Yep.
I'm like, hey man, you can paddle my bare ass with a mallet for $120 million in front of Congress, and we'll live stream it. If I get $120 million, I'll take it. Like,
and this what Graham's talking about is the scandal where they were opening accounts. Right. And pushing lower level employees to open accounts, or they would be fired and punished.
And the head guy gets 120. I mean, it's just, the whole system is filthy and rigged. Anyway, well, Rosie, I really appreciate you coming on the show to help educate myself and the audience. So tell everybody again about your podcast, Out of the Box, and where people can follow you online and get more of your stuff.
I'm on Twitter at Funny Rosie. Unfortunately, I'm not that funny these days, Graham. I'm like tweeting so much like serious stuff. So, but I am on Twitter at Funny Rosie. No jokes recently, just craziness because of what's going on. And my podcast is Out of the Box Podcast. I am on YouTube. My channel is brand new, so I have like 20 subscribers. So go check it out. And I also, but I've been on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and all of the podcasts audio listening for over 5 or 6 years. Graham, you're actually my first guest ever on Out of the Box. Yeah. And I think you're the only person who's been on the podcast 3 times.
That's right. Hat trick.
But it's not a crypto podcast, but I do interview some amazing crypto people. It's just all out of the box thinking, anything non-mainstream, out of the system. So I think your listeners would enjoy it.
Okay. And check out other interviews I've done with Rosie on my new cryptocurrency playlist on my YouTube channel. You can see other interviews with Rosie. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at grahamelwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.